What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. So I want to explain why I titled this video 12 days. Here's what's happening in 12 days. Just be 100% honest. Are you going to get a stimulus check in 12 days? No, you will not. Are you going to be getting any money in 12 days? No, you will not. The child tax credit, those payments should be coming in 8 days, in a week from tomorrow, but that's not what I'm discussing in today's video. What I want to address is in 12 days, according to White House officials, they are actually saying that committees should be done finalizing both the budget reconciliation bill and the bipartisan bill. They should be done finalizing the text for these bills. That is good news. And here's the reason why this is good news. First, this is extremely important because as of right now, nobody knows what is going to be inside the possible $6 trillion infrastructure package. Nobody knows. We know Senator Bernie Sanders, he's pushing for an expansion of Medicare. We know progressives want to see stimulus checks. They want to see Medicare. They want to see student loan forgiveness. And there was big news that happened today, and I'll address that in just a minute. But there's a lot of stuff many Democrats want. Many progressives want this and that. Republicans say, oh, no, that's just too expensive. We have to figure out a way to pay for the bill. Then when Democrats figure out a way to pay for the bill, which is essentially, let's just raise taxes, well, then Republicans are like, no, that we just can't do that. That's not part of infrastructure. So the fighting is going to continue. But there was something that was said today from a GOP representative from Texas, and I'll explain this in a minute, who pretty much says, we're going to do absolutely nothing. We're going to do everything in our power to pretty much stop anything that happens for the next 18 months. And I'll explain that in a minute, because that right there is exactly what we are seeing from lawmakers. And this is something that we have seen for months, actually not even months, decades, right? This is something we continue to see. And this is one of the reasons why the American people, like always, will get screwed. Here's what we know. What we know right now is Senator Bernie Sanders and Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, they want to see a $6 trillion infrastructure bill. This is, at least according to multiple reports from last week, is that they were working together to finalize this deal. Well, according to the White House today, they are saying, and this is something that they told The Hill, is they are trying to get this finalized, at least the text of these bills, by July 12th. Or actually, was it 12 days, July 7th or 19th? Excuse me, my math is horrible right now. Anyway, Senator Joe Manchin, he wants to see a $2 trillion infrastructure package. President Biden, he wants to see roughly $4 trillion. Republicans, they're open to spending about $600 billion. And this is where the fighting continues, is because nobody can really figure out the best way to negotiate all these different proposals and ideas and come up with the best solution. Well, what we are hearing right now is experts are saying that they are not sure if this bill will even pass. Some say it should, some say they are not sure, but in 12 days, we will have more answers. In 12 days, it will be July 19th. It will be a Monday. This is going to give lawmakers a little bit of time to work together, try to finalize, the text should be finalized, but finalize the negotiation process, see if some lawmakers can get on board. Hopefully the House and the Senate can pass these, but we will see what happens then. According to the White House officials, in their email today that was actually sent to The Hill, it actually states, and I quote, as Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer has said, he wants to move on both the bipartisan plan and the budget resolution during the upcoming July/August Senate session. Our understanding is that the process could begin as early as the week of 7/19, given the committees are still finalizing legislative text for both the budget resolution and the bipartisan bill. Again, the committees are still finalizing the text. So these White House officials are just saying that it could begin as early as the week of 7/19. Not that we're going to see in 12 days, okay, text is finalized, let's vote. That's probably not going to happen. So this is very good news that they are moving forward. And I say this because of this one main reason. Lawmakers, as of today, okay, and again, everyone's away on recess, but lawmakers are stating that they cannot figure out a way to first pay for the bill, but figure out a way to negotiate it if they don't know what is in the bill. If they have no idea what is in the bill, then how can they negotiate? How can they figure out, oh, well, let's pay for it by doing this? Well, that would be great, but that's not enough. Well, how's it not enough? Well, it's not enough because we got to pay for this and that and that and the other thing, right? And so that's the problem. That is the big problem right now, is that nobody knows. But let's look at the other side of things. Let's look at the Republican side of things. Now, this is just a statement from one person. This is actually GOP Representative Chip Roy from Texas. And the reason why I want to bring this up is because based off of a lot of different evidence, based off of what Mitch McConnell has stated himself, okay, this is almost a fact that many Republicans feel the exact same way. But let me read the statement. Now, here's the craziest part about this. Representative Roy was actually filmed without him knowing, and so this statement was not something that he probably wanted on record. But here's what he said, and I quote, "I mean, honestly, right now, for the next 18 months, our job is to do everything that we can to slow all of that down to get to December of 2022 and then get in here and lead." He's specifically talking about if Republicans can just delay things and create more chaos for the next 18 months. Again, 18 months, that is a long time, okay? If they can do that for the next 18 months, then they can win back the House, they can get back in, and they can lead, right? That's what he's saying. Now, this is not looking good for him or for Republicans, but at least we're getting some insight as to how Republicans plan to deal with the upcoming infrastructure packages. They plan on just delaying. And that's the issue, is the American people at this point can't delay. And I asked you guys before, I asked you I think Monday or Tuesday, what you guys thought if we could see additional stimulus. Let's say we could wait and we see $1,000 stimulus checks in a month or 2 months. It's not the exact same example, or same question, but it's very similar. I simply asked, could you guys wait an additional week, month, 3 months for some stimulus? And many of you guys said, absolutely not. There's no way that you need money now. And that's kind of the consensus. And that's what many Americans are saying as well, is they need help now. But here's where we're seeing there's going to be more help. According to multiple reports, the big things that we are seeing at this point is we're seeing moves on childcare, elder care, community college, Medicare, possibly Social Security, and stimulus. Those are the things that are currently seeing the biggest push. And from Democrats a few months back, okay, actually even before the American Rescue Plan was passed of $1.9 trillion, what we knew was Democrats were going to push and pass any policy, any legislation that got the American people behind it. That's what they wanted. If it was a priority to the American people, Democrats said it's a priority to us. So that's where they got stimulus checks. That's where they got other priorities as well. Rental assistance, nutrition assistance, and so on and so forth. But the big thing moving forward is, what will Democrats actually get behind? What will they vote on? And what will every single Senate Democrat support? Well, here's something that we found out today. Today, there's actually been a big push from the Biden administration to actually cancel student debt. Here's what we're hearing. Today, the Biden administration hired Toby Merrill to serve as the Deputy General Counsel. Well, Toby Merrill has been very outspoken as to the government's ability to cancel student debt. She actually has been very open in the past, and she actually wrote I think a letter to President Biden to actually explain how he could legally cancel up to $50,000 in student loans without any congressional approval. That's pretty big. So, being that she is now the new Deputy General Counsel, this could be pretty big, and this is just another push for student debt cancellation. Right now, this is a big shift, and what we are seeing now is, okay, if student debt cancellation is going to be included into the next infrastructure package, is that going to take away from other priorities? If it does, what gets pulled out? Or do they just increase the amount? That's a big question, because again, as I stated earlier, Senator Joe Manchin supports a $2 trillion infrastructure package if it's a Democrat-only proposal. That is in addition to the roughly $1.2 trillion that's a bipartisan bill. So in total, he'd support roughly $3.2 trillion. However, just roughly, only $2.6 trillion would be in new spending. The other roughly $6 trillion would be in unused money from the previous stimulus packages. So that's pretty big right there. And that one thing that we know as of right now is that many people are still wondering, what about additional checks? Canceling student debt is great. That's going to help out many people, millions of people. Awesome. What about us on Social Security? What about us that don't have anything? What about us with no kids? Well, here's what we know. Checks for people on Social Security is still being worked on. This is something that many lawmakers are still pushing for. Many lawmakers want to see this included into the next bill, but reports indicate that this is actually a tougher sell than stimulus checks. Let that sink in for a minute. Passing any relief for Social Security is a tougher sell, according to experts, than passing an additional stimulus check. Well, let's put that into perspective. Stimulus checks are still being looked into, but according to experts, they say stimulus checks are actually a tougher sell than extending the child tax credit payments for an additional year or two. So again, let that sink in. Stimulus checks are going to be harder to pass than extending the child tax credit, but Social Security is going to be harder or a tougher sell, according to experts, than passing a stimulus check. So the priority right now is child tax credits, stimulus checks. Then on top of that, we got Social Security benefits. How messed up is that, right? How messed up is that? And, okay, what we know right now is, according to experts, first off, the child tax credit payments are going to start next Thursday on July 15th. So if you have children, great. I have children. Okay, I think this would be great if my family really needed the money for our children. Great. I think it's going to help out many people. But at the same time, we cannot prioritize parents and children and not prioritize, seniors and the elderly and the disabled, our veterans. Our veterans. How messed up is that? Right? It's messed up. I absolutely love the fact that parents and children are going to get this child tax credit. I think that's awesome. It's going to lift a lot of children out of poverty. Hopefully they stay there, right? Hopefully the parents use the money to better their children's lives and their lives as well. But at the same time, we're missing a whole host of people. We're just completely missing them. But here's what we know. Many lawmakers, as of right now, and this has been said for the past month or two, many lawmakers are hesitant to pass an extension of these child tax credit payments until they see how effective the monthly payments actually are. If they're not effective, if children are not lifted out of poverty, if nutrition, if the food shortage, right? The amount of people as of right now that are pretty much food insecure, if this number doesn't drop after these payments start to go out, this is a huge problem. And this is where lawmakers say they are looking at these numbers closely, and then they will reevaluate whether or not this is extremely important, this should be prioritized, or if this can be simply expired or pretty much forgotten at the end of 2021. So we'll see what happens there. Also, in the months ahead, what we are hearing is that right now, unemployment is set to expire for all states September 6th. Right now, according to multiple reports, the White House is 100% satisfied with letting these just expire, and I'll explain more in just a minute. We also know the CDC eviction moratorium will end at the end of this month. So August 1st, CDC eviction moratorium on a federal level is gone. There is none. And according to health experts, the COVID variants could play a major role on how the economy fully opens. Okay, so that's pretty big. So right now, currently everything is in limbo. But what I can tell you, so we do have some other news. I want to break this down because I think this is pretty important to know. First off, Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines, they actually sent a cruise ship over to the Surfside, Florida condo collapse in order to house all the rescuers. I think that was great. It was a great move from the Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines. In addition to that, they are not using all the ships, so why not use them to serve a better purpose, greater good? However, Today, the Miami-Dade County mayor, she said in a press conference that it was with extreme sadness that their rescue efforts are going to transition from rescue to recovery, and this is actually going to start at midnight tonight. There are actually still currently about 100 residents or 100 people that are still missing, and the point of this recovery effort is supposed to give closure to families that are pretty much just waiting for answers. So they're going to go from rescue to recovery. This should actually speed things up. But the problem is they're pretty much counting all 100 people that are still missing, or 100 plus, that they're most likely deceased. So that's not great news. We're also hearing, and this is actually pretty big news, that many workers that are not going back to the ride-sharing companies like Lyft and Uber, they're actually doing this because these gig workers say that with low wages and with no benefits, it makes absolutely no sense. With roughly 6.2 million jobs still available here in the United States, it makes no sense why they would go back to a job that has no benefits and low wages. And for one, on top of both of those things, it's very dependent on other people. It's not that you clock in, you do 40 hours, you get your money, you go home. It's not like that. You have to wait for somebody to ask for a ride. That creates a big issue. And in addition to that, when according to experts, they say about 40% of Americans say they will not get the vaccine. So some of these people that used to do ride sharing, they'd go and become an Uber driver or a Lyft driver, and then let's say they're done with their shift, and now they have to clean out their car. They have to protect their car, sanitize their car, because what if one of their riders had COVID? Now they have to protect themselves, protect their family. They got to go and clean it. So that puts another hour or 2 hours onto their day, and they're not getting paid for it. So again, bigger issues. So what we are hearing is that some experts are saying, and they're worried that the ride-sharing industry is actually going to take a major hit. And by taking this major hit, it is going to cause many of these gig workers to not go back into Uber and Lyft and other ride-sharing companies. And the problem with this is by not having this mass transit that people can go and use, and you'll pull up the app on your phone, get an Uber or Lyft, and off you go. What's going to happen is this is actually going to create more of an issue for public transit and cab services in major cities. They will be overloaded very soon. This is at least according to experts. But here's something I want to bring to your attention. Even today, National Economic Advisor, Brian Deese, he had this to say on Twitter. This was just a short while ago. He said, and I quote, "At the end of the day, building more competition into the labor market will make it easier for workers to match with better jobs with better wages. The president is committed to making this happen. More information to come this week." Now, this is just another statement from the White House, and again, it's expected that they are going to just let the unemployment benefits on the federal level expire in September. They are currently saying that right now it's better to get people back to work so that they can go and provide for themselves. This would hopefully give the economy a full recovery. What I can tell you right now is just based off the statement from National Economic Advisor Brian Deese, based off this statement, creating more competition in the workforce, first off, yes, it will better match people up to their actual jobs. Hopefully people will fill the right position based off their qualifications, their past history, and obviously their needs and wants and desires as well, and obviously their location. But the issue with having more and more people back into the workforce is it's going to affect those, number one, that don't have a high school diploma or GED. Chances are an employer would most likely hire somebody with either a college degree or diploma, right? High school diploma, obviously. But if somebody doesn't have that, then we might see the people that they are letting go or just slipping through the cracks might have the qualifications, but they don't have the education, and that could be a huge issue. So we will see what happens as we move forward, but as of right now, that is what we know. That is what we know regarding stimulus, the economy, jobs, and everything in between. If you have any questions on any of this stuff, please let me know down in the comment section below. Just want to thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Consider subscribing so I can continue to keep you updated on everything that's going on, and I'll see you guys on the next one.